Hi guys and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to yet another Frieren Friday. Today it's on the 4th, so there's another little bit of alliteration for you. I'm excited to check out this one because we are really deep in the trenches during this trial for rank 1, and this is only the first part of the trial. I think that they said there would be more after this, capturing the stele, surviving with the stele, all of that stuff. It's only the first part of this trial. There will be more to come, and yeah, this is just getting really intense right now. We're getting fights breaking out, and the kind of fights that don't look like everyone's going to come out of it. It really does look like we're going to see some characters that we have maybe been introduced to in these past few episodes who maybe look to be super important, who maybe look like they're going to play a part in the future. They're going to show up way down the line again maybe. We might see some of those characters die already. Their importance and their relevancy might just fade out right now. It's really interesting that we're getting to that point because we have never, at least, like, please correct me if I'm wrong, but within this series I don't recall seeing humans fighting humans at any point yet. And so now that we're in a section of the series where humans are going to be potentially killing other humans, that's a huge switch up, change up from what we've been used to in Frieren so far. And this is episode 20. We are 20 episodes deep, and we might see something like that. As well as that, we have never seen, again, correct me if I'm wrong, besides Frieren when she's training, we have never seen Fern fight another human. So how will she switch things up? How will she react? Will she do anything differently? Is she going to keep her composure, keep her cool, and hold down the fort and do what she needs to do to survive, to get through this, to make it to the next stage? What's Fern going to have to do here? What's Frieren going to have to do? Because she's going to have to protect these two kids. I know that these two kids should be able to protect themselves, should be able to fight, should be able to do all this if they want to be rank 1. They should be able to. They don't need, and they shouldn't be relying on someone like Frieren. They need to be able to fight their own battles and survive and beat other opponents. But right now it just really looks like it's going to have to be Frieren who steps up and saves these kids, because they are kids. And that's the really interesting thing here. We know that Fern is also a kid, but she is more than capable. She has been brought up by Frieren, raised by one of the greatest mages of all time, perhaps. Like, I might be over speaking. I don't actually know for sure if Frieren does reach those levels, but from what I've seen, I can only imagine she has beat every opponent that she's come across. The battle with Aura, the fact that she defeated the Demon King with Himmel the Hero and that gang of heroes. Like, one can only assume she's one of the greatest heroes of all time, right? One of the greatest mages of all time. And yes, she raised Fern. So Fern, of course, is also on the fast track to being an incredible mage. But these kids that Frieren is with, they have a lot to learn. And I just hope that nothing bad goes wrong here, because we've got really attached to them at this point. We love the dynamic that they have with one another. And yeah, I'm scared, but I'm excited to see just where we go here, because at this point we're in no man's land and anything could happen. And yeah, that's really exciting to me as a viewer, but also very terrifying as a fan of these characters and a fan of the series. But yeah, I'm not going to yap much longer. If you guys do enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Hit the notification bell down below so that you're notified when Frieren videos go live, ReZero, opening, ending videos, anything that you might enjoy that I post on a weekly basis. That will all be sent to you through notifications if you hit the bell down below. And yeah, leave a comment letting me know if you were feeling these same emotions going into these episodes, if you felt nervous, anxious, but also kind of excited, like in a weird gladiatorial combat kind of way. Like, I feel like I'm back in ancient times, just watching gladiators throw it down in the sand pits. Like, I'm very excited in a weird kind of way. I can't quite explain it, but yeah, we're gonna check this one out. Frieren, episode 20. Let's go. Oh, there's the big ass lake. Okay, and we can already hear people fighting. Scary stuff. Oh, we're kicking off with this fight already. Ubel, let's see what you can do. He looks like he's super on the defense right now. She's just walking forward. She doesn't look like she's even doing anything. She's just walking forward. She is a menace. Oh. She doesn't need to. You're her plaything right now. She's playing with you.
5メートルくらいだろ。5メートルでどうするの？また基礎的な魔法で殴り合うの？
Whales.
いや、その必要はね。今ビアベルと戦ってる子、多分殺されちゃうわよ。
That's not gonna happen. But
では。
we'll see what does end up happening. Oh shit. Fern, okay. Holy shit. Look at her go. Oh, no shred of character. Just like you were talking about Virbel. Holy shit, Fern. Don't tell me you killed a person. That's... Whoa. You were just talking to us about how Virbel is an absolute beast and menace because he attacks devoid of character to win through underhanded tactics. Well, Fern just showed you that exact same thing. What of it? What's going to happen now? What's Fern going to do? Did Fern beat her? Is Fern going to tend to her? Is Fern going to care about her? Is she going to make sure she's okay? Is she going to make sure she's not dead? I'm sure Fern held back. We know that Fern can definitely do a lot more than that. So she definitely was holding back, but... I don't know. She's so used to fighting humans, so... Or holding back, I don't think so. I wonder what that means. And as for Virbel, what's going to happen there with that fight with Ubel? Because there's a lot that they need to do there. There's a lot that could happen. Ubel could win, Virbel could win. They could both take each other out. They could just go crazy. Episode 20, necessary killing? Oh my god, not right after what we saw with Fern. Oh shit. Captured. Shit. Oh. That's cheap. Does it only work on those with strong mana or something? So you had to take out your eyes? Eraserhead type shit if you blink?
しかもこいつ手加減していたな。ラストチャンスだ。
Last chance da. So he doesn't actually want to kill. Ubel, on the other hand, she is an absolute killing machine, I think.
殺し合いができると思ったのに。結局シティレを脅し取ることが目的か。動けなくなった私からシティレを奪えばいいじゃん。
He's honorable, unlike you. Is she gonna do something? Oh shit. Oh, not the nose. Oh, poor birdie.
視界に全身を収めてないと無理なのか。目を狙いやがったな。合理的な判断でしょ。いいよ。
Yeah, she will absolutely do whatever it takes.
殺すために首を狙う。それで戦いは終わりだからな。
But she wants a fight. She doesn't want to just kill immediately when she's got someone to play with.
そうした奴らはいたぜ。そいつらは全員。
Enjoyed killing. The unnecessary killing.
お前はここで殺しておくべきだな。女子供を殺したことあるの？ねえと思ったのか。
I mean, fighting off the demon forces, I'm sure he's seen a lot.
俺ら北部魔法隊は対魔族専門の。
Absolutely, this is what we heard.
有事には国同士の戦争にだって動員される。
Oh shit, really? So we have fought and killed humans? Oh, these look like just regular ass people. Oh my god. That's awful. That is brutal. I actually hate that so much. That's awful. These poor children. Wow, this long hold right here.
私はね、その人が得意とする魔法は人生や人間性に大きく関わっていると思っている。
Capture opposed to killing.
相手の動きを封じるこの魔法はまるで殺すまでの猶予を欲しがってるみたいだ。
I think he's a good person after all.
とうに両手は血で染まっているのに、まだ人間でありたいと思っているんだ。
Yeah, he clings on to that last little remnant.
そうだ。これは殺す覚悟のための時間だ。でもな、ジョーちゃん。
Give me a reason to kill you is what he might be thinking.
必要な殺しは全部やってきたぜ。
Damn.
じゃあな、ジョーちゃん。
Alright, well, something's gonna happen here. I don't think this is the end of Ubel.
動かないでください。
Oh shit, Fern.
全く気配がしなかった。 驚いたぜ。
She's
魔力を
terrifying.
完全に消せんのか。
Not completely,
シ
but
ティレを捕らえたのはお前だな。
enough.
運が良かっただけだよ。偶然シティレのねぐらを見つけて、その子は鳥を捕まえる魔法を師匠から教わっていた。あんたは何でも捕まえられるのに、よっぽど運が悪かったみたいだね。
That's funny.
全くだぜ。ついてね。あいつはどうした？
殺しました。
No, you did not. Did you? So you've already lost, so you don't even see a point in fighting anymore?
俺たちの負けだな。聞かせてもらうぜ。
Holy shit.
私を殺すんじゃなかったの？
What's the point if he's not in this anymore? Yeah. Fern, you did not kill a person, did you?
じゃあな。
I mean,
別に背中を狙ったって構わないぜ。不要な殺しが必要な殺しに戻る。
unnecessary kill.
ユーベレ様。分かってるよ。
I'm
嘘
surprised.
上手じゃん。
Oh, she didn't? Okay.
ナント様の援護に
Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't think Fern would kill someone.
あのメガネくん、相当な食わせ者だよ。
Okay, so he uses flowers as a weapon here. And I think that's really strange and interesting because we know that Frieren has a history of with like flower fields and everything like that. So I wonder what would happen if she went against this guy.
でもこれ我流でしょ。我流の人って基礎がおろそかになっていることが多いんだよね。僕はさ、
You gonna school this fool?
必ず様子見をするようにして。
You took your time to learn.
よくわかったよ。多分僕の貸した。
Probably. Alright, here we go. What's land gonna do?
君、魔力探知苦手でしょ。
Oh shit. A fake. That's crazy. Was it when he turned his back?
実体はあるから正確には僕の分身かな。
Shit.
第一次試験が始まった時から僕は他人を信じていないからね。
I mean, good for you. I think you did well there. Killed her my ass.
平然と嘘つきやがって。
Well, you believed her.
一般攻撃魔法の物量で
Ordinary offensive magic. I love that so much. Just regular ass magic is all Fern needs to win. And that's what she told you last episode. Holy shit. I feel like we saw that in like episode 2 or 3 when Frieren was training with Fern, like something like that. Yeah, what was she holding back on? Absolutely. Oh, the Stark special.
物みたいに運ぶつもり。おんぶして。
Oh, that's cute.
なんで俺がこんなこと。おいシャルフ、エレを運ぶの手伝って。
The butterflies flying around his body. Oh, the tears in his eyes. Poor Ubel. Oh, he's getting the Stark special.
マジで何なんだよ。こんな状況じゃシティレはもう奪えねえ。
It's all down to
俺
Ubel.
たちの不合格は確定だね。
Unless you can pull something out of the bag here.
優しいのね。
I do think so now. I like learning about him.
見捨てないで。
泣くんじゃねえよ男だろ。
その
He
優
can
しさ
cry
あなたが魔族と戦う理由なのかしら。
to help humans. I think so. Ah,
あ
she
なたは私の
recalls
名を
him.
救ってくれたわ。
Oh, that's
バ
sweet.
カが。優しさなんかで命張れるか。俺の場合は下心だ。故郷に好きなやつがいたんだよ。
Oh,
今からちょうど29年前、北側諸国の魔族の動きが活発化して、そいつは一家揃って中央に逃げていっちまった。
damn.
俺はバカなガキでな、格好をつけちまったんだ。
クソったれな魔族どもは俺が全員ぶっ
I'll
殺して
kill
や
all
る。
those shitty
だからその
demons.
時はこの村に帰ってこい。
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, little red scarf. That
4つか
symbol's
5
gonna
つ
be
のガキの
important.
頃の話だ。もう顔も名前も覚えちゃいね
バカみたいね。
え。バカみたいだ。
Aw, he's an idiot, but he said he would do something and he is committed to fulfilling that, even if he was a shitty 4 or 5-year-old.
私のおじいちゃん紹介しようか。一級魔法使いだから陸路で。
Oh shit, your grandfather's a mage.
どうした？
First class mage? Oh shit. Capture it. Use your eyes. Oh shit, they actually got one? That's crazy. Okay, I'm glad. I wanted to see more of these guys.
今までの苦労は何だ。 月が回ってくんのよ。遅すぎんだよ。
Hopefully something doesn't show up here. Oh shit, okay, it's Gintama girl.
フリーレン、あの子さっきから
She's
何もしてこない
watching.
けど。
She's also maybe waiting for the others to show up. They've already shown
エ
up.
ルフか。優秀な魔法使いだな。
Do you know about
ラ
her?
ウフェンの魔法なぞ。一度見せれば二度は通じんだろう。
They've got a pool of water behind them. That's good for the two kids. Okay, he doesn't want to kill. That's good.
取られたか。面白い魔法だ。
Teach it to me, is what he's thinking. She's thinking. Sorry, she's like, I will learn that spell before we finish fighting. You will teach it to me.
そういえば第二次試験の試験官はお前
The
だ。
second test, sense.
今回も有望な受験者を何人も死なせたみたいじゃないか。ゲナ。
Can you really say he killed
笑
them?
わせる。
He put them in this environment and they killed each
有望
other.
なやつはこの程度では死な
Yeah,
いよ。
that is a right way of
それに
thinking about it, but still people are
それだ
dying.
けの価値がある。
People are
お前
dying
もそ
over
れ
a
は分かってい
test.
るはずだ。
それにしても人が悪い。魔法使いの試験に魔力探知が通用しない獲物を選ぶだなんて捕まえられるかどうかは運任せ。これは争奪戦に見せかけた対人戦だ。
Yeah.
運も実力のうちだ。
Luck is a
そ
skill.
れに運以外でシュティレを捕まえた連中もいるようだ。
He's actually making his move. His name is
誰が勝ち
Denken,
上がると
I
思う
think.
3分の1は残るだろう。
A
その
third.
中に電剣は確実に。
Denken.
奴の実
The
力は
Imperial
一級
Mage.
魔法使いと比べても遜色はない。
Holy shit, okay, you're just saying that out
とにかく
loud?
興味のないご老体がなんで今さらこんな試験に。
さあな。
Yeah, what is his
あの
deal?
じいさんももう年だ。
Maybe he's trying to
思う
prove
ところ
something?
でもあるのだろうさ。
Does he want some reform?
今の子が使った魔法ってさ、ジルベアでしょ。
Gilver, you know the
南
spell?
側諸国の山岳民族に伝わる
Ah, that's
民間魔法
cool. Do you know it?
ああ、そうだ。
Do you know the folk spell?
ラウフェンはまだ未熟者でな。魔力の痕跡を残しすぎ
So you're stepping in to make sure we can't trace
容
her?
易に追跡できるはずだ。
I
フ
see.
リーレン
Oh, he knows. He knows who she is. Of course he knows who she is. She's
わしらの
Frieren.
世代でその名を知らぬ魔法使いなど
Hell yeah.
直接この目で見るのは初めてだが、お前は勇者一行の魔法使いフリーレンだ。
有名なの。
They didn't have a
伝説的な魔法
clue.
使いだ。もしかしたらとは思っていたが、エルフってマジで年取らねえんだな。
This is gonna be an interesting fight here.
電剣がお前の足止めをしている間に、
Uh,
がそっちのガキ
kill?
どちらかを殺す。
You literally just said you're gonna kill a child?
パーティーメンバーが負け
Jesus.
て合格条件を満たせなくなれば、こっちは引かざるを得ないわけだ。面白い。やってみろよ。
Fight together. That's what you've always done.
やめろリヒター。わしらは足止めができればそれでいい。
Yeah, we gotta keep them busy for 3 hours. Is that what you're trying to say here?
電剣。俺はあんたはもっと無慈悲で冷徹な人間だと思
Killing
って
a
いた
child over a
中
test?
世魔法使いだろ。
Okay, tell us what an Imperial Mage
だ
is.
って一度や二度じゃないはずだ。
Oh shit. Oh, look at how big his shadow is, even despite his small stature
人
there.
死にの価値があるとは思えんだけだ。
It's very, very metaphoric there, you know, the size of his shadow being cast.
それほどの価値があるとは思えない。
His reach goes further than his stature.
まさか特権も知らずに試験に挑んだのか。半世紀以上前に突如として歴史の表舞台に現れ、人類の魔法使いの頂
Okay,
点
who
に
is the
君臨した
finder?
大陸魔法協会の創
Oh
始者
shit, what?
大魔法使いゼーリエは
Serie.
魔王軍との長い戦火の時代の洗練された魔法使いを
Oh,
未
we're
だに
actually
追い求め
finally
ている
getting to see this
だから彼女は
other elf we've
一
seen
級
in
魔
every
法使い
opening.
の座についた者に特権を与えることを約束した。
And Frieren flinched when she heard the
望んだ
name.
魔法を授けるとな。ゼーリエは人類の歴史上のほぼ全ての魔法を網羅する。
Goddess?
生ける魔導書。こ
Type
の地
shit?
上で全知全能の女神様に最
Oh
も
my
近い
god.
魔法使いだ。
That's crazy.
望んだ魔法が授けられるということは、魔法使いにとって願いが叶うに等しいことだ。おかげで今や一級魔法使いは人外を疑うほどの化け物揃いだ。
That is insane. Any single spell.
バカバカしい。
I've got questions. I'm gonna save them for the end. I'm gonna save them for the end.
電気、そいつを1分足止めしろ。それだけあれば2人とも殺せる。
何度も言わせるなリヒト。
We're not gonna kill children here.
たかがガキ
Yeah,
二人
literally.
たった3時間寝かしつけるだけ。ガキのおもりくらいできるだろ。
But the way they're describing Serie.
こいつはわしが叩き
Oh
つける。
shit.
それでよかろう。
おいぼれが。バルグラント。
Sorry, the way they're describing her. Oh my god, okay. Jeez, okay, we've been split off. There it is. We got our separate own fights now. But it seems very much like Demon King-esque, if that makes sense.
若いやつは血気盛んでいかんな。
You're two, you're both a bunch of oldies here, so we're gonna see the fundamentals in full force here, I imagine.
And then
Already? The episode's over already? Oh my god, it feels like we just started. In all honesty, that might be the shortest feeling episode yet. that was intense. That was a fun episode, but crazy. And that was episode number 20 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. What a crazy episode this was. This episode had a lot of lore drops, a lot of information that was really fun and interesting to learn about, because I love learning more about this world. I love learning about the history of this world, and I love learning the way the world works, the way magic works in this world. And it seems to be a very political thing here. The use of magic, the title of first class mage and everything like that. I do plan to get into my thoughts regarding all of that very soon, but I'm probably going to just tackle some of the other content in this episode before I kind of get to the beef of what I want to talk about here. So naturally, the episode picks up pretty much where we left off in the previous one. We left off with Fern facing down against, I can't even remember her name. Is it Serie? So she's facing off against her. You know, that's her big fight. And it did look very clear from the previous episode that Fern wasn't really trying. She was just kind of standing, using defensive spells, and just watching and learning and letting the other person use up all their mana. Like try to make it look like they have the upper hand. It almost seems like, I don't know if that's necessarily a tactic that Fern uses, but we've seen her do it time and time again where she takes the defensive stance first, and it's almost like her opponent then thinks, oh, she's weak, I can beat her, she's only using, you know, basic defensive spells. When she does use an offensive spell, it's very basic, and, you know, she's never going to be a problem. But then that's when, of course, we pick up this episode, and Serie, I think her name is, I hope I'm getting it right. If I'm getting it wrong, I do apologize, learns very quickly that that is not the case. She is yapping, as we heard in the previous episode, about Ubel using no matter what it takes, any means necessary to win. He is underhanded and he does what it takes to win, no matter what. Nothing more to it than that. He just does whatever it takes. And so when we heard that in the previous episode, I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of scared. I was worried that he would be a huge threat in the future. I thought that he would just be a complete menace in the same way that Ubel was, but maybe he would be more kind of ferocious, he would be more unwavering or something like that. But honestly, this episode makes me feel the complete opposite. I will get to that also. I'm just going to go through the other stuff first. Apologies. But it's once this other girl starts talking to Fern about how Ubel isn't going to survive because of what Ubel will do, and she's speaking like she has first-hand experience, like she knows Ubel. So that's, you know, also a little insight into, you know, the future of what the rest of this episode unveils and everything like that. But it's very clear that she's speaking from a place of experience and warning us of what Ubel will do, and he will kill Ubel. Like, simple as that. And it's once Fern hears that, knowing what this task entails, that she kind of just steps into action. She decides, you know what, never mind, we're not gonna bother, you know, just trading jabs until one of us runs out of mana, until whatever this fight ends, until 3 hours is up and they announce that we pass and you don't. Fern decides, I'm gonna go save my teammate, because if she dies, then all of this is for nothing. And Fern did the right thing here. Fern decided to use an absolute barrage of attacks here. I think it was referred to as a concentration of attacks, or what was it? Let me just check. Let me pull that up. A saturation attack. Okay. So, yeah, she's saturating the level playing field or whatever with all of these attacks. And she can keep this up and she can keep it going because we know from previous episodes that this is Fern's specialty. Quick attacks, and yeah, she's got an almost unlimited well of mana from what we've seen so far. We have not seen her kind of tap into her low reserves yet. She has been able to tap into just this huge pool of mana, and she probably is able to do so because of how much she suppresses. And I don't know if mana, like, I don't know how mana works, if it's something that replenishes each day, if it's something that you have a limiter for, like you have a limit to how much you can have. Like, I would wonder honestly if you have this unlimited pool based on how little you use. So if you use no mana for 30 years, do you have a shit ton more mana than someone who's been using mana fairly consistently across that same period of time? I'm only asking this because we know Frieren concealed her mana for a very, very long time. We know that her mana is unbelievably huge and large. And I wonder if that's because of that. Like, I don't know if there's directly an exact answer to that, but because Fern suppresses and doesn't really use mana all that often, I wonder if that means she's got a lot more than someone like this girl right here, who maybe just uses mana doing random bullshit things and like fighting and stuff like that. I'd be curious to learn that, if that's ever addressed or anything like that. But of course, while Fern and this other girl are fighting, and Fern ends up just using this insane move, and it just kind of ends, and she takes out the girl. Like, it just cuts away, and it's almost like this question of, did Fern kill a human? Would Fern go to that length? And I feel like one of the really interesting things about Fern's character is that, for me, I feel like I've got a great grasp of her character, and in my head and in my heart, I'm like, she would never kill a human. That's not something Fern would do. I cannot see it. I can't imagine she would ever do that. But there is that creeping doubt of, would she have done it because of the circumstances, because of what might happen if she doesn't take this girl out for sure? There's just this really strange creeping doubt that just creeps over your mind regarding Fern, even though in your heart of hearts, you know she would never do that. That's not Fern. That's not my Fern. She would never. But man, she is stone cold when she wants to be. And so I still have this really cautionary feeling sometimes when I see some stuff like this. So this is all going down, and then that's when we are cutting in between Ubel and Virbel. I think that their names are really funny to say after one another. I wonder if the Bell part of their names actually has some meaning that connects the two and kind of translates into their personality types, because I know that that's a very common thing within Frieren, where Virbel is very much, I'll do whatever it takes, but that doesn't mean I'm okay with it. That doesn't mean I want to do it. Whereas Ubel is like, I just want to kill some guys. Like, I just want to fight. I want to challenge. I want to just fight to the death, as she says in this episode. And that's her thing. She enjoys fighting. She enjoys using her magic to fight a strong opponent, and she wants to challenge herself. She wants to grow stronger, perhaps, as she does so. But what does that mean? Does that mean that she has completely disregarded her humanity? Is something in her past the reason she's like this? We still know very little about her, but I suspect she has had a very interesting or terrible, rough background, childhood, whatever it was, that has led her to be the way she is. She has had to learn to survive on her own. She has had to learn to do whatever it takes. And yeah, she has no place for sympathy. She has no place for any feelings or emotions like that whatsoever. She only has to care for herself. And that's kind of what we see here when she risks the team losing here just for a chance to fight this guy. She doesn't really care. She just wants a fight to the death. She's not really here for the honor of becoming a first class mage. I honestly don't believe so. I feel like the only reason she signed up to this was that she could fight others who are powerful and who are on their way to potentially becoming first class mages. She just wants the challenge. That's all she's here for. Almost tosses that aside when she tosses the stele just for a chance to kill this guy. We also get to see that Virbel is someone who can use a very powerful binding spell, while Frieren has to be within 5 centimeters or whatever it is of the target, and it can only be a bird that she can bind using her binding spell. Virbel can be, I don't know if we get a distance from him, because we learn that Ubel's slicing attacks are 5-meter radius, 5-meter range, but we don't necessarily learn the range of Virbel's binding spell. Assuming it's also 5 meters, his binding spell is very clearly a lot better and a lot more powerful and a lot stronger than Frieren's. And that makes things really interesting, because it just goes to show the evolution of magic, the way these spells have evolved, and the way people have adapted them for other uses. And no longer is this just a spell to bind birds, it's now a spell to bind literally anyone or anything that moves, it would seem, and it suppresses all their mana too. And I can't recall if we get that answer as to whether the spell Frieren uses on the stele also does that, if it also suppresses mana or anything like that. But regardless of all of that, Virbel binding Ubel very clearly shows that he isn't necessarily here to just be scrappy and throw down and fight unnecessarily. And that's a huge thing in this episode. It's the unnecessary fighting which leads to unnecessary killing and unnecessary death. And Virbel is very, very against that. And he doesn't really want to fight Ubel because he can sense the bloodlust. He can sense that she's here just to kill. And he knows that, and he does not want to participate in that battle because he doesn't want to kill. He obviously doesn't want to be killed. And we get a little flashback then to times with Virbel where we learn that he has had to kill women and children on the battlefield. He was outsourced with his mercenary group to participate in other battles between political parties and stuff, and situations where other parties would send women and children to the battlefields in order to cast doubt across the opponents, and those opponents being, Virbel and everything like that. And we learn that that's in the north. So yeah, Virbel is very clearly someone who's troubled by what he's had to do in the past, but he doesn't let that weigh down on him. He continues and he does what he needs to do. He is dedicated to achieving his goal, which is wiping out all the demons, so that a girl that he can't even remember while he was 5 years old that he fell in love with, he says, but I don't know if a 5-year-old can really understand love like that. I know a 5-year-old can understand unconditional love, or maybe not understand, but feel unconditional love. I don't know if a 5-year-old per se could feel feelings of romantic love or just anything like that for another 5-year-old, but he kind of says that that's the case. He loved this 5-year-old, and maybe he means it in the sense that he loved being around her, he loved her as a friend, and he wants her to return. He wants her to return to the village or the town, whatever it is, once he's killed all the demons. And so that's been his goal for the past 20 to 30 years. I can't remember how long he said, but it's been a very long time of him doing the same things. And he is very clearly someone who is stubborn and true to his word, because even all these years later, he is still doing what it takes in order to achieve that goal, even if it seems silly and unnecessary at this point in time. But a big difference between Virbel and Ubel is that Virbel uses this binding spell in order to kind of psych himself up. It sounds terrible saying that, but he gets himself to a state. He has to work himself up to the point where he can kill someone that he maybe doesn't necessarily want to, because he has to do what it takes. And he says that he's never once faltered. Every time he wants to kill someone, he does. And it's not that he wants to, but that he has to. He does what it takes. And that's a big part of his character. And here he stands against Ubel, preparing to kill her. And the difference between them both is that Ubel will just kill mercilessly without necessarily needing to, but it's as Virbel is finally about to do it, he's finally about to kill Ubel, he's powering up his spell, that's when Fern shows up. And Fern, leaving no mana detected, steps up and says, "Hey, I killed your girl and you better leave her alone," basically. Fern kind of saves the dead, because in lying that she killed Ere, I think was the name, she convinces Virbel to throw in the towel and basically walk away. His spell only works when he's watching someone, he's looking directly at them. So, looking away, he's like, okay, whatever, doesn't really matter to me. I'm going home. If she's dead, then, we can't participate anyway. But when Fern says that she killed her, he flinches. His eye kind of twitches. And that's, something you'd be looking for body language, to see someone faltering, someone's reaction. This was a sign that Virbel cares. And Virbel is worried, or feels something anyway, even if he doesn't share that, even if he acts cool and collected and as though nothing is wrong and everything's okay and who cares, it's just another person. He cares, and we see that clearly here. But Ubel isn't afraid to attack from behind until Fern and Virbel kind of call her out on it. Virbel makes a point of, necessary killing versus unnecessary killing. And it's a very poignant thought. It's a very strong position to take during this test where, there is unnecessary killing happening. And it's kind of crazy that when we see the proctors, they're kind of, well, the guy in charge, I guess, is kind of talking about how, anyone who can't be a first class mage shouldn't be here, blah, 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 blah. Bro, like, these people are taking a test. They're not here to die. Like, nobody comes here wanting to die. Like, you can take a test. Doesn't mean you need to sign away your life. It's a terrible thought, and it's awful. It's very almost inhuman. And I don't know, I just don't understand the thinking here. And that's where I'm going to talk about, a little later on, about how I feel like this is very similar to Demon King bullshit. But for now, we're going to talk about other stuff until we get to that point, right? But, Fern basically says, step down, Ubel, and Ubel's like, fine. Ubel and Fern are ready for the second phase of this test, and they're going to try and find Land, who Ubel refers to as someone who's very, smart. I can't remember the way she words it, but basically, he's not going to lose. He's too smart for that shit. Four Eyes, I guess, is what she calls him as well. And yeah, then we see that he is very sliced up. He is very heavily damaged. He's just standing, and he's learning, he's observing, and this other guy is just using flower petals, which are turned into metal, and using them to attack Land here. And Land ends up just simply being like, yep, you dropped your guard, I learned your weakness, I win, and just zaps him. It's a little bit of electricity, it seems, and I wonder if that's to do with the yellow hair here. And he wins very easily. He uses cloning techniques, so he hides in the sidelines until he learns what he needs to do by sending out a clone. And this clone has substance, so I wonder if he also feels some sort of damage or anything like that. But when we see him standing, next to this other guy, his real body is not damaged or touched whatsoever. So very clearly all the damage was simply done to this clone. And I wonder if we get to see this clone technique happen live at any point, because I'd be wondering, I'd be curious to know how he activates it, when he does so, and what that means. Can he just be looking at a certain location and send a clone to appear in that spot or something like that? I think it would be really cool to eventually learn how it works, but for now I have no damn clue. Virbel ends up coming across the girl, and yeah, it's a very sweet scene where he almost relieved that she's alive, and he goes to carry her using mana, using magic, but she's like, don't carry me like that, carry me on your back. And it's a very sweet scene just seeing him care, because he does care a lot. He's a very human person, and he does care about those he's killed. He cares about all the awful things he's done. As Ubel said, for someone who has so much blood on your hands, you sure do care a lot. And I'm paraphrasing there because I can't remember the exact quote, but I think it's really important that part of his character is that he's trying to cling to that last little remnant of humanity that he has. He doesn't want to throw it away. He doesn't want to turn into another Ubel or something like that. And when they stumble across Sharf, he's also lying in a pile and he cannot move. His mana is depleted and he's crying. He's got tears in his eyes and he's asking Virbel, can you carry me on your back? It's very funny, and it's a nice little bit of levity in an episode like this where there's a lot of intensity. I really did appreciate this little moment right here. It helped to break up the just intense feelings that this episode kind of creates. But that's when Sharf ends up getting the Stark treatment and ends up getting carried by Mana. He doesn't complain either. He kind of accepts that it has to be. But while they're traveling together then, there is a little bit of information that might be relevant later where Ere says that her father or her grandfather, I can't remember which, is a first class mage, so they can use that to their advantage. That's curious, right? I wonder who that is. I wonder if that'll be important during this. And of course then we also get the scene where they see a stele, and the stele is just kind of chilling up there, and as they all kind of say, it's pure dumb luck that they came across this and that they were able to catch it when they did. Pure dumb luck. There was no rhyme or reason or tactics or anything like that. Sure, we learned from the Proctor that some did use, tactics to catch their steles, and that, was Frieren essentially. Her group used a plan. They used a tactic. But for the most part, it's just been pure dumb luck. Ubel also acknowledges that their stumbling upon and capturing a stele was pure dumb luck. But the Proctor, who is kind of an ass, I'm not really a fan of him at this point, he is talking about how, oh well, luck is also a factor that everyone should have, and blah 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 blah. He just seems like an asshole. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not really crazy about him. But then now we cut back to Frieren and her little group, and they are holding down the fort, standing ready as this girl, Sonic type shit, she's zooming around, she's so fast, and Frieren knows the spell. It's a folk spell that she's aware of because she's very knowledgeable in these things, and this girl ends up stealing their stele before anyone can react to it. She's just that fast. But her other mates, her crewmates, teammates, whatever you want to call them, they're watching from the sidelines. They're not getting involved. They're letting her use her speed to capture this thing. And the plan might be that she captures it and then we dip and we just survive. That might be the plan, but they recognize that she used a little too much mana and that it can be traced. Her mana lingers in the air, and it wouldn't take much for Frieren to find this girl with the stele once again. And Denken is watching and he sees that she is an elf, and he's like, an elf? His brain very clearly starts working, and he starts working overtime, and the cogs are turning and everything like that. But then we cut away to the Proctor again, who says that they expect Denken to survive and to make it to the next stage. And that's when we learn that Denken's skill is comparable to that of a first class mage, but he's never taken the test up until this point. He seemingly doesn't care, he doesn't give a shit about it, but maybe there's more to it. And they're speculating what Denken's plan is, what he intends, what he wants, why he's going for this now after all these years. When we cut back, I think it's really weird, and I noticed it while I'm going through here. It's not a big deal, but a little inconsistency is when this fight starts, or rather before Denken and this other guy approach, when it's just the speedy girl. Lavine, I think, is on the left side of the screen, so to Frieren's right. But when we cut back to Denken and this other guy approaching, it seems that Lavine and Kana are both next to one another. So I don't know if something happened in between there, or it's inconsistency or what, but very clearly they needed to be on one side and Frieren on the other. Denken knows who Frieren is, because obviously, who wouldn't know Frieren? And I think that's really interesting. There's been this talk across the series so far of like, it doesn't matter what you accomplish, what you achieve in life, you will eventually be forgotten. And Frieren is remembering all of those that she traveled with and everything like that, but people are starting to forget them. People don't even recognize her, who are only born in the latest generations. People don't know who she is. And yeah, this is another example of that, where Denken recognizes her because he's been around for a while. He's been around since the time of the Demon King, I would presume. Please feel free to correct me, but I'm struggling to remember how many years it's been since Himmel the Hero died. Like, I feel like it's in the 30s, so that would mean that sometime between the Demon King being killed or defeated and Himmel the Hero dying, this first class mage bullshit popped up. And we learned from this other guy that's with Denken that it's because this elf showed up, Serie, who has all this knowledge. She is the closest thing to being the goddess, and if you are able to attain the rank of first class mage, she will teach you any spell you want. any one spell. And that's important to a lot of people. That's a huge power that a lot of people want. To learn any spell they want, that's insane. And so Serie is hailed as this like almost goddess figure. She is seen as this really important person, but once her name is mentioned, Frieren flinches. She reacts to the name, not to a description, not to, you know, the whole knows a lot of spell stuff. She reacts to simply the name Serie. And I wonder if that's related to maybe being like maybe a past before Flame even. Maybe she also was with Flame. Who knows? But from what I would guess here, maybe Frieren knew Serie way before Flame ever showed up into the picture. I wonder if we'll tackle that this season. I hope we do. I hope we tackle that at some point soon, because this other character just, it gives me really bad vibes, really weird, strange vibes, because she definitely seems to be almost taking the role of Demon King, but for humans. That's how it feels. They're treating her with so much reverence and so much importance and placing her in such a high position that is almost like the humans have created their own Demon King type figure. They will do immoral acts. They will do inhuman acts in order to create this system. And this system being, you know, the rank 1 mages and everything like that. And it doesn't matter what it takes for people to achieve that rank. They will kill, they will do whatever it takes. It's not human. And I think that that's going to be something that we see going forward. We're going to see this whole idea of what makes a human, what makes a demon. And I know what separates humans and demons at this point. Like, I've been 20 episodes deep at this point. I understand. But I feel like what we're seeing here now is humans losing their humanity, doing demonistic acts almost. Not to the same degree, obviously, not even close, but they're creating this similar system. It's weird. I'm not really crazy about this system. I don't like it. I think that the setting up of this after the Demon King died, I think that that's going to be important, because why wait until after the Demon King died if this character Serie has been around for such a long time? I can't wait to learn more. But this guy that Denken's with, I can't even remember his name, he's such a dick. He wants to kill one or both of these kids. And, like, why? I think that that's a really important question here. Just why? What is it with these people in this test who think that they need to kill? Why is that so ingrained into your DNA, into the way you use your magic, everything like that? Why do you feel the need to kill? You can simply knock them out. You can simply put them to sleep. You can simply bind them. You can simply buy out time until they cannot win. That's all it takes. You don't need to kill. But he's dead set and insisted that he's going to kill these kids. It's stupid, it's awful, and it's terrible, but it goes to show a lot about this test. It goes to show the immoral belief and like just everything surrounding this test. It's not right. Nothing is right here. Everything is just off, which makes it all the more strange when you think about it, why Ubel was disqualified for the rank 2 test when she killed a proctor. She killed a rank 1 proctor. Why was that an issue? If the whole thing is who gives a shit, you know, if you kill, you know, if you can't survive, blah, 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 you should be first class. Okay, well, Ubel did literally kill at first class. Where's her first class badge? Right? Isn't that kind of what you are all about at this point? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too heated. Maybe I'm looking into things too much. I probably am. And, you know, feel free to tell me to simmer down in the comments and, you know, maybe correct a few bits and pieces for my line of thinking here. But I don't like it. I don't like the way these humans are acting. It's making me lose hope, because they're just all going to end up like Ubel. They're going to be merciless killers. Whereas, you know, you get characters like Virbel, Frieren, Fern, and Denken, of course, who don't want to do unnecessarily killing. They don't want to. There's no point. What's the point in that? And yeah, I can already sense that I'm going to really like Denken as a character, because he's really honorable and he looks to be a really good person. He cares. He's got a goal in mind. I don't know if he wants some kind of reform or something like that, but I think that his character is going to be a really great one, as well as Virbel's. Virbel and Denken are going to be honestly the MVPs of this arc, because they still have humanity. Virbel not as much, but Denken very clearly seems to hold on to a lot of his humanity. And we get a little insight into what an Imperial Mage is. He's someone who, you know, well, we don't get a lot, but, you know, he participates in, like, you know, politics and stuff like that. He's struck down political figures and stuff like that. And the scene where we see him walking along with a low stature, he's not exactly tall, but his shadow is huge cast against the wall, and that's very obviously metaphoric of the shadow he casts across maybe the realm. And he's this looming over scary overlooming character who casts this big shadow that everyone is scared of, but he's just a little guy, right? He's not exactly the biggest, he's not anything like that, he doesn't look to be too intimidating, but the shadow he casts is huge, and he is scary. He is equivalent to that of first class mage, as we hear in this episode. But yeah, then the episode ends with Denken and Frieren facing off against one another, and we're getting ready for that big fight. We don't get to see it in this episode. We're hopefully going to see it in the next one. I'm very excited for that one. I really want to see what Denken can do here, because we have not seen him use any mana whatsoever up until this point. So nobody can have any idea. Nobody's detected his mana. Nobody has an idea, even from simple detection from a mile away, what he's capable of. But we'll get to see, I hope, in the next episode. And I'm very excited for it. I cannot wait. And yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell to get notifications when these videos go live in the future. And yeah, of course, leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on all of this that's going on. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, I hope that you guys are having a great day today and that you're able to take it easy. I will see you in the next one. Take care.